wasn't something outside your door, but inside your own body. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We are told these are normal signs of aging, but in my experience, it could mean something much worse. I call them the three internal enemies, and they are wrecking the health of millions of Americans right now.
I'll pause it there because if we watch more than we should, you won't go check out Chuck Defense website. Let me just make sure I get that. Yeah, it's chuckdefense.com/Viva. People, many of you might already know this, but have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw this video and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife started doing it and she says she's never felt better. She feels 10 years younger and her body looks leaner and she has energy all day. Chuck made a video. It's that video that you're looking at right there. chuckdefense.com/Viva that explains everything. One click away, go check out the video. It's in the description. It'll change the way you think about your health. Once again, chuckdefense with an S.com/Viva. Click the link in the description. It'll bring you there. You won't believe how simple it is. Just a reminder, Chuck Norris is I'm going to put the emphasis on the is a whopping 84 years old. He doesn't drink Cool Whip. And I don't think he takes it on pies. He's 84 years old, and he has more energy than most Americans. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply by focusing on three things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking on this link in the description, chuckdefense.com/Viva. I was a little late, people, because I had a video. I still have it because we're going to watch it. It's a Vivek Ramaswamy confronting Van Jones, although Van Jones these days has been making a lot of sense. But I wanted to start with one of our sponsors and, segue into just to tell you what I did this morning. I tell you, someone described, I don't know if they were describing Florida or the world as God's land. And I think it has to be more the world than just Florida because the world is God's land. I go for a bike ride this morning. I could give my knees a little bit of a break. So instead of doing a 35 or 40-minute run, I do a 55 or close to an hour bike, but I'll probably go jogging this afternoon again. I go for a bike ride on the Everglades. Like literally it's on the Everglades. If you guys know where Loxahatchee, Arthur R. Marshall is, they have these bike paths that go along the canal. I go out in the morning after dumping the kids off at school or dropping the kid off at school. By the way, stick around for the local. If I do the locals after, I'm not sure if I'll do it today, but stick around for a story there. I go for a bike ride. I see turtles, fish, tilapia, a bowfin. I see 4 deer. It's like a kid's book. I see 4 deer, 3 alligators, 2 cardinals, and 1 snake. It's just biking. It's like I live in freaking Jurassic Park. I go for a bike ride, and there was a big freaking gator. All that to say, it segues into be healthy. Watch Chuck Norris's video. Exercise, people. Exercise, and in as much as you can eat healthy, eat healthy. Good afternoon, people. I'm sitting here. I can't hide the excitement. How life is bizarre. Back in 2016, when I started doing some vlog type material, before the vlog was even a vlog, and I was reluctant to give my opinion on stories that I was covering. I was reluctant to dabble in politics. And 8 years later, on the verge of celebrating my 10-year anniversary since the first viral video I ever made, I'm sitting here like a nerd geeking out, waiting for RFK to speak at 2 o'clock to determine the future of America. And I mean, it's that monumental. RFK Jr. he's not expected to speak. He is speaking at 2 o'clock. He's expected to bow out of the race. A victim of Democrat lawfare, because the Democrats, the party of democracy, did everything they possibly could to keep Trump off the ballot and RFK off the ballot. And it kind of worked with RFK because he doesn't have the deep pockets of the campaign of Trump to fight this lawfare in New York State where they got him yeeted from the ballot because he doesn't reside in New York State, even though he pays his taxes there. Deny him Secret Service so that he has to spend tens of millions of dollars on security so that he can campaign. The Democrats, the party of democracy that literally just stole the primary from sleepy Joe Biden, are the ones putting the stick in the spokes of the wheel of the Kennedy campaign. He's expected to speak at 2 o'clock, drop out, and endorse Kamala Harris. We're going to get to it. Oh, Hold on, I'm bringing this up. Ultra Chase 513 says, Viva, you've turned from a Canadian caterpillar into an American butterfly. I love that. I love it because I've realized this. I feel guilty sometimes being flattered by that type of compliment because I feel like a bit of a betrayal to Canada. What I've understood and what I've discovered now is that there's a history, there's a zeitgeist, there's a spirit. And there are Canadians who are proud Canadians who have the American spirit. And then there are Americans who have the American citizenship, who have the proud parliamentary subjugation spirit within them. They would have been fighting the Redcoats if they weren't the militias fighting the Redcoats. They would have been fighting for the Redcoats if they were not the militia fighting against the Redcoats. So it's a spirit thing. And I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. Okay. So what are we talking about today? As we wait, bated breath for 2 o'clock to come so that we can watch it live together. Hold on 1 second. Viva, you said he's expected to endorse Kamala, but isn't it Trump? Did I say that he was expected to endorse Kamala? Oh, shit. Now the soundbite's going to go viral. No, I'm an idiot if that's what I said. That's like when I called Trudeau Trump in that speech at the Rebel News. No, he's supposed to endorse Trump. Oh, God. Curse this tongue. He's expected to endorse Trump, and it's going to, first of all, I would never have said that. If I said it, it's obviously a brain fart because I'm following the markets because I believe that this is going to have the most massive impact on the predicted markets, on the poly markets, and on the election and the future of America. Because it's not an unknown secret. I watch Bongino because as I get prepared for my show, I like to have Bongino on in the background. And in as much as I think this would be the most cataclysmic from the Kamala Harris campaign, but manna from the heavens, it would just be the most miraculous thing for the Trump campaign, at least in terms of an actual unity ticket. Nobody can sit on their laurels and say, we've got this all in the bag. Dan Bongino calls out to his Bongino army and says, bring 10 people to vote. Vote and bring 10 people to vote. I can't yet vote. I hope I'm reaching more than 10 people. There is nothing in the bag. And that is probably the worst attitude to take. The defeatist attitude or the we've got this in the bag attitude. Get out, vote, bring 10 people. Now I feel like a toy. I said, vote, endorse Kamala. Oh my God. It wouldn't even make any sense. I'm talking about how the Democrats have been shitting all over the RFK. So my apologies, people. So we're waiting for that. I have finished watching the DNC. I finished it. I've watched it so that you don't have to. Watching the race-baiting POS Al Sharpton get out there and talk about joy. The joy of the Democrat Party sounds a whole hell of a lot like hell to me. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest breaking updates in the Trump failed assassin. They finally decided some people have to get put on administrative leave. They put on administrative leave. Five Secret Service agents. There was a dude roaming Arizona, threatening Trump's life, who's been arrested. So we got a lot of stuff on the menu. Now, I want to introduce you to my neuroses. I'll introduce you to my neuroses afterwards. No, I'll introduce you to my neuroses now. I want to have my energy drink, a coffee drink or whatever, a caffeinated drink. But then if I drink it now and it's only 12:40, what do I have to look forward to in the afternoon? And if I have a second one in the afternoon, that's going to be too much caffeine for a neurotic OCD dude. I'm going to be like jittery and nervous and anxiety, whatever. I'm going to have this right now. But another thing about my neuroses, and this is more neuroses than OCD. It's the old expression, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not following you. This brings us into our special sponsor, our second sponsor of the day, 5gfree.com/Viva. You all know that I was a lawyer. I'm no longer a lawyer. Former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. I had a client who was an engineer for a cellular company once upon a time. I won't give more information than that. And I was always, that you always heard the rumors, don't keep your cell phones next to your pants in your pocket because it'll fry your testes. And I asked him one day, I said, any rumor to that? And he said, absolutely. Don't keep it there. Don't talk with it to your ear. Put it on speakerphone and keep it a fair bit away because it emits. He was an engineer. He knew better, and he confirmed my neuroses. 5G free. Here's the thing: they told you smoking wouldn't kill you, which was paid for by the tobacco corporations who made billions off your deteriorating lungs. They said that saturated fats are good for you. So multinational food conglomerates could print more money while Americans got fat. And Canadians, by the way. The obesity rate in Quebec is not much better than in America. So this is not a dig at America. Do you remember this one? Vaccines are safe and effective. We all know that Big Pharma profits off our sickness. So let me tell you this. When they tell you that 5G radiation from your devices won't hurt you, while the electronics and communication companies make trillions, do you believe them? Ask the bees that 5G towers are killing. Go to 5gfree.com/Viva. Use that code Viva to get 15% off your order. 5G Free is one of Rumble's partner companies. It's an amazing partnership. Create the parallel economy, support companies that support free speech, but that also produce products that you need, that you want. And while you're getting them, you can kill two birds with one stone. At 5gfree.com, we have a range of unique products brought to you by Rumble with our lineup of proprietary supplements, device protectors, and radiation medical kits. 5G Free has you covered. Every purchase supports Rumble and the fight for free speech. And don't keep your cell phones next to your testes if you plan on having kids soon. And even afterwards, you don't want to have those things removed if you, ideally. Links are in the description. Thank you to our two sponsors. Okay. What do we start with? Let's start with what I wanted to start the show off with, but thought twice about it because I also haven't seen it. Let me see here. See, I got all my tabs in the backdrop. Here we go. It brings it back to the politics. Can you imagine a Trump campaign, a Trump administration? Sorry, hypothetically, things go the way the cosmos needs them to go, wants them to go, and has been telling us they should go. You get a Trump administration. You get an RFK bowing out, endorsing Trump, coming on to the Trump administration as director of the CIA, director of HHS, what is that, Health and Human Services. You get a Ben Carson in the cabinet. You get a Tulsi Gabbard in the cabinet. You get J.D. Vance as your VP, and you get a Vivek Ramaswamy. I know some of you have thoughts about Vivek. I don't share them. I've had Vivek on at least twice, maybe two times. I don't want to get accused of over-exaggerating or exaggerating. I trust Vivek. I like Vivek, and he would make one hell of an asset to the Trump administration. Let's hear what he has to say when he confronts Van Jones is that at the DNC?
So we got death threats. We got death threats after the thing you said. So that's Van Jones for you. So on air, I actually don't swear. I did it very intentionally that one time, and I want you to just know about it because I think it's important. So you were on air, and you said that he's a demagogue. He's dangerous. He's going to be around for 50 years, long after Donald Trump's gone. The first time in the campaign, we get a death threat of a man who wants to show up in New Hampshire. Thankfully, the police intervened, got it. The next day, back-to-back days. So my wife's scared enough. The next day, we wake up. It's 3 a.m. We get a call from him. He's my security guard saying, "Thank God you picked up because we just got a call that somebody showed up at your house and has 4 dead bodies there." So that's within 48 hours. And I'm not going to attribute that to your comment because whatever it is. But for our family, you know what? Publicly I didn't do it, but for our family, yeah, it pissed us the heck off, actually. And so the reality is, I don't try to engage in rhetoric that gets other people in danger of bodily harm. But I do think that if somebody's going to, even if you didn't intend to provoke that kind of ire on my family, yeah, in that week it landed with me. Now, at the same time, am I going to
test?
Do I want to set a good example for people in this country of what discourse looks like? I do. And in the heat of a presidential campaign, and I've been open about it since I left the campaign as well. My competitive spirits, sometimes stop us from being able to have the level of discourse we want. And I think you were wrongfully pushed out of the White House for your comments around 9/11, way back when as well. They were misconstrued. Exactly. So what I will tell you is this.
I love this.
Yep. So I just wanted you to know that backdrop. That's my personal song. Don't get anybody else.
I will call you in a couple of days and I'll apologize for your
Okay, well, we don't need to do any of this on air.
I'll call you right now.
And you know what we can do is you can turn the page and maybe have a chapter to demonstrate what actual good discourse looks like in this country. And that's not just on you, that's on me as well. Okay, that's on two of us.
Did he just leave?
Hey, it's classy.
It is what it is.
And I hope we can build a friendship. I really mean that. Please do. Okay? Thank you. Take care.
That's amazing. First of all, it's an amazing thing to watch that, and then I start thinking to myself, am I having second thoughts about what I thought I knew of Van Jones? Move up a bit, Viva. Hold on. Vivek is the better man. Van Jones has been saying some mildly reasonable things recently. I mean, I remember his whole whitewash after Trump got elected, which is, the race baiting nonsense that has persisted for a very long time. I tell you, everybody who's skeptical of Vivek Ramaswamy, at what point, what does someone have to do in order to convince you of their authenticity? People are still skeptical of Elon Musk, and at some point in time, he might do something that you don't like on a specific issue. But when it comes to what he's done with Twitter or X, at some point, you have to accept that he's walked the walk and suffered the consequences as a result. It's an amazing thing. I didn't know that Vivek got death threats. I mean, I presume they all do, because you cannot be in that atmosphere and not get death threats. But you don't get the people who don't want to define themselves as victims parading around their victimhood status. Woe is me. I got death threats because of what Van Jones said. Whereas the exact opposite is true of the other party. They will, I mean, on the one hand, send themselves their own death threats so they can then claim victimhood status. Van Jones is a straight up commie, says Sad Wings Raging. That won't change a true believer. You're probably right. So that was, I mean, it's an interesting thing, but the mere act of apologizing, some might say it's an insincere apology, a deceptive apology, and that remains to be seen if the behavior doesn't change on a going forward basis. I tell this to my kids. I tell this to people who apologize. An apology is an undertaking to change your behavior on a going forward basis while apologizing for past behavior. If you don't change in the future, the apology means nothing. If you don't mean it, you're obviously not going to change your behavior. So we'll see. Bottom line, it's interesting. I did not know that Vivek had gotten death threats, whether or not it coincided with, I'm not sure what it would change at the end of the day in terms of Van Jones and what he said and whether or not he has the right to say. He obviously has the right to say what he says, and barring a specific call to action, there's probably more causality there than there was on the alleged death threats that the court staff was getting in New York when they had to gag Donald Trump, because whenever he spoke, they got death threats. Bullcrap. That's them weaponizing their victimhood for the purposes of infringing on someone else's rights, as they've done. But surrender greater than apology. Oh, I see what you're saying. As in, okay, this is from Jacob Castro. So apologies are nice, but if he ceases being a true believer, or I guess that's what you mean by it. Now, this is all going to segue in one story after another. You got Vivek confronting Van Jones about threats that he got after a Van Jones statement. By the way, not for nothing, things that they've been saying about Trump on steroids for the last 10 years. Existential threat, threat to democracy, threat to your life, threat to your family, threat to your body. Literally Hitler. He will take power and never cede the power. Ironically, exactly what the Democrats are doing. And what happened to Trump happened to Trump. This was breaking news yesterday. It's like I like you take a mild break, not even a mild break. You take a moment to talk about something else, and you miss stuff. Did you hear about this Arizona man that was accused of credibly threatening Trump, was on the run and got arrested yesterday? I had to find this from the BBC 15 hours ago. Arizona man accused of posting threats to Trump is arrested. Let's see this. Police have captured an Arizona man who allegedly threatened to kill Donald Trump following a manhunt that unfolded as the former president was visiting the border state, because Trump was on the border. We're going to get there in a bit as well. Trump was on the border. Was it in Arizona or was it in California where he said the thing about Gavin Newsom? I think it was at Arizona. And Gavin Newsom, inadvertently, because he's an idiot, publicizes the best self-own ever. This is when he's on the... So Trump is at the border of Arizona. This man's on the loose. Police say Richard Lee Sivald, 66, of Cochise, Cochise, made death threats against Trump in social media over the past fortnight. My goodness, we're reading British talk here. That's why it sounds like this. Trump was in Cochise County Thursday visiting the U.S. Okay, fine. Last month, Trump was grazed by a bullet in an assassination attempt at a campaign. Just grazed. Amazing. Cochise said he was also wanting for failing to register as a sex offender. Oh boy. He faces several warrants in both Wisconsin and Arizona, including on charges of driving under the influence and a felony hit and run. Felony hit and run, getting more serious. Failing to register as a sex offender. There's only so many circumstances where that is not as bad as it sounds. And that is if it was improperly registered, or I don't know what the other one would be. Police say he's okay, whatever. So bottom line, this guy's on the loose. Another man who's been brainwashed by the media It's not the first presidential threat against a candidate in this election cycle. Earlier this month, 66-year-old Virginia man was arrested on suspicion of making death threats against Vice President Harris, among other public officials. Remember, they gotta share that blame going around. The man is brainwashed by the media, brainwashed by a decade probably of Trump's an existential threat to democracy. Kick him off the ballot, and then you get people suggesting that the assassination attempt was staged. How that works, I don't know, because Corey Camperatore did in fact get murdered, unless people don't think that happened, in which case $1.6 billion for you. Two other people were shot, unless they think Trump was in on it and had the blood pack and splattered it. There are nutcases out there who believe wild stuff because the power of the media. That man's on the loose. It can't be a good feeling when, as a result of Secret Service failures, you literally got shot in the face head region 6 weeks ago. They arrested the man. Good. No harm, no foul. Just reading some of the chat, which segues into the latest breaking developments. While Trump is on the campaign trail, he was shot in the ear. He was shot in the head, but for the grace of God, grazed his ear. Is out in public at a place which is probably not the safest place on earth. The border, where you have criminals coming over. Cojones of steel, courage of steel, or as Robert Barnes always says during the Sunday shows, Trump just doesn't think that way, that he's not living in perpetual fear. And almost it's an amazing characteristic if you can have it. I don't have it. I live in perpetual fear, living in invincible in his own mind and spirit, which allows him to be invincible in reality. So he's at the border, but the breaking news of the Trump assassination, listen to this. Okay, here we go. No, that's not the Trump assassination newly uncovered video. Hold on. Here we go. This is the news of the day. Why am I picking CBS News? Because I want to see the outlets that wanted to downplay this, ignore it, not report on it, and instead report on anything else, because what we witnessed was something which changed the course of history, despite the algorithmic suppression on Google and Facebook. When they report on this, I want to see what they have to say, to see how they try to pussyfoot around it, how they try to spin it, because this is counter to the narrative now. Secret Service places multiple agents on leave over Trump assassination attempt investigation. All right, let's go down here. Where's the text? U.S. Secret Service has placed multiple agents on leave, including the head of the Pittsburgh field office, as a result of its investigation. As a result? I mean, I guess as a consequence of its investigation? I guess as a result is the right word. Into the last month's assassination attempt. Yeah. Sources familiar to. So take it with a mild grain of salt. Let me just try to get this video here. Sources. So we have to be skeptical a little bit. Secret Service's Internal Affairs Division is continuing to investigate how a 20-year-old gunman was able to fire 8 rounds. Keep investigating how he was able to be a suspicious person with a rangefinder for 90 minutes before Trump took the stage, get access to an unsecured, unobserved roof at 130 yards from the president, assemble a gun, bring a gun, get 8 shots off despite the crowd saying there's a gunman up there, despite police getting up and seeing him pointing a gun, and then 30 seconds lapsing before. Set all that aside. How he had 3 apparently encrypted foreign accounts, one in Brussels, I think. Let's see what else. How he was training at a shooting range that is a high-end, so to speak, shooting range where a bunch of professional Secret Service, where government officials train. He trained there 43 days over the last year, Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day. Dude doesn't look all that normal. If there's red flags that are going to go off from anybody who's trained in law enforcement, he would be the one to flag those alarms. How all that happened? We'll find out sooner than later. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi declined to comment. The agents were placed to confirm the agents were placed on leave, saying he would not comment on a personal matter. Well, that's not quite personal, but he said the service's mission assurance review is progressing, and we are examining the processes, procedures, yada yada. He added that the Secret Service, quote, holds our personnel to the highest professional standards, and any identified and substantiated violations of policy will be investigated. More verbal diarrhea. But at least there's some consequence. Now, from what I understand, placed on administrative leave does imply some form of wrongdoing. So it's not like it implies some wrongdoing. apparently, if we trust it. But that's the latest breaking news. 6 weeks later, they finally discovered people might have broken protocol. Denise Antu, are you covering Trump's press conference? Yes, but Trump is, well, I don't know if I'm going to be covering Trump. Trump is after RFK, correct? Like RFK is at 2:00, and Trump, I believe, is after that. Let me see what the chat has to say about that in terms of timing. At this point, let's see here. Still not banned here. At this point, sorry. Hold on. That did not say what I thought it was about to say. So, some consequences, and it's not nearly enough. It's the scratching of the surface, because I do genuinely believe that what we saw was criminal conspiracy to allow Trump to get executed live on TV, demoralize an entire nation, blame it on Iran, have Nikki Haley swap in for him at the RNC. Whoever wins goes to war with Iran. Deep state has their wet dream come true. Here we go. We got Recordus says Bongino is ex-Secret Service. You gave him $20 to look at that Fed walking in. To look at that Fed in front of crooks, and he didn't notice. Recordus. Okay, so I was watching Bongino yesterday. I've said this a few times already, but I'll repeat it. The reluctance anyone who does commentary or analysis has in life is watching too many other people, and then you don't want to feel like you're copying people's ideas. You don't want to copy people's ideas. You don't want to get influenced by what other people think. You need to make sure you understand. And so, like, I'm always reluctant. I was going to say a number of things that I heard Bongino say today, but now I don't want people thinking I'm only saying it because I saw Bongino say it. But I was watching him yesterday, and I gave him a $20 rant after they were showing the newly released video of one of the merchants at the Butler convention, the Butler rally, which showed crooks walking about 8 feet behind somebody who's wearing sunglasses, fancy shirt, or not a fancy shirt, a button-up shirt tucked into his pants, looked a little fetty, but I don't want to accuse anybody of being a fed. I thought if that person was in fact an agent or someone there for security, well, that's even more interesting. And then I said $20. The guy in front of him, do we know who that guy is? And I specified, not from a perspective of doxing the guy, just from a perspective of, on the one hand, was that guy security undercover because he kind of looks like he could be, and just in general, that guy's walking 8 feet in front of the would-be assassin, in fact, murderer. Did he notice anything? Like, did anybody talk to that guy? So that's it. Now, because the thing is also, you don't want to put people on blast like they did with the woman behind who took out her cell phone and started recording after the shooting. And then everyone was like, she's a Fed and she was in on it and she didn't react properly and yada, yada, yada. So that's it. All right. That's the news. To be continued, I guess, as names and reasons get exposed. People need to go to jail. We all know that. I believe it. Period. All right. Oh, we're going to get into the DNC? We have to get into the DNC. Who here has been watching the DNC? I watched it so that you don't have to. I listened to Kamala Harris's 37 or 40 minutes of verbal diarrhea. It's a 50-minute segment. The first 3 minutes are smooth-brained seals clapping at their circus handler. And then the last 10 minutes are commentary from whatever agency I watched it as, praising Kamala Harris as the second coming of it's bad religion. It's bad religion, and we're witnessing it in real time. They have all of the telltale signs. It's not to say that at the RNC there weren't analogous displays of not idolatry, of support. And it's an interesting thing. Like, when does support become idolatry? When does support become cult of personality? Is it when people start wearing aviator glasses and saying, "We love you, Joe," that it becomes cult of personality versus support? When it has so many of the similarities to religious practices, you could start making the analogy. The only reason I say it is because, on the one hand, Democrats frequently accuse Trump and Trump supporters of being in a cult of personality, and they're brainwashed. They'll support Trump regardless, no matter what. When that is not just exactly what they're doing, it's even worse, because they didn't support Kamala Harris until they were told to support Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was not their God until their leaders came out and said, Kamala Harris is your God. And they didn't like Kamala Harris until they came out and said, you now like Kamala Harris. Like, literally like the meme. Pull out the old chip, put in the new chip. You now like Kamala Harris. We love you, Joe. Fitting good for another 4 years, to it's time to go, Joe, to we love you, Joe. to now Kamala Harris is not an incompetent, corrupt nincompoop who slept her way through her job ascension, was a detested presidential candidate in 2020, was a detested VP in 2024, but now pull out the plug. Now you must love Kamala Harris. And what you saw over the last week was nothing short of idolatry, of reprogramming, and of producing sound bites and clips so they can now try to pass off Kamala Harris as a religious biblical figure who everyone needs to kneel down and worship. Let me bring this up here. I love this. The Democratic, I just call it the Demonic National Committee. The Democratic National Committee is full of DEI, transgender, progressive cult from the pit of satanic hell. So much so, FD man, that even news outlets out there are commentating on the. It's such a weird thing, also, because for the party that talks about toxic masculinity and criticizes conservatives and people who love the outdoors as being white nationalists or extremists, for the party that talks about toxic masculinity day in and day out, who focuses on gender identity day in and day out, to then come out and say, Coach Walz, do you notice how they're going with Coach Walz now? Because it catches. It's like, oh, everybody loves the good old coach, unless it's who was the coach that got involved in the sex scandal? Football coach, sex scandal, football coach, sex scandal. What's his name? Sandusky. Yeah, I mean, maybe we should start calling Coach Walz Coach Sandusky. That might be a good way of like flipping 180 the good old coach. Let's call Coach Walz Coach. You can't do that because we don't know if Walz has been up to any Sandusky business. But they're trying to portray Coach Sandusky now as the new metric of masculinity. This is masculinity. You got David Hogg coming out, and it's a very weird thing. Talking about Coach Walz' masculinity. You could talk about a lot of things about Coach Walz. How he allowed his city to burn, how he set up a snitch line, how he lied about, his military experience for stolen valor. One thing no one would ever accuse Coach Walz of being is a traditionally or even stereotypically masculine man. It comes off, I don't want to use the word weird because I would use it unironically, but now they've destroyed the word weird. He comes off as peculiar, like objectively in all respects. Demeanor, just peculiar in demeanor. No one would look at that guy and say he's the metric of a man. Okay. But they have now had to portray, it's a weird thing, him as a man and Kamala Harris as a leader, even though she is an abject failure. So imagine the last 4 days has been nothing but lies, lies, and more lies. And by the way, where the hell was Joe Biden yesterday? They paraded him out on Monday. Am I wrong, or did he not show up again at the DNC? Kamala is more masculine than Walz. That's coming from our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Did Joe Biden didn't come back after the first night? Anyhow, so bottom line, it was 4 days of demonic rituals, cult in the truest sense. And if I can quote myself, and I will, succinct summary, because there's a good explanation in the Bible why things happen in threes, and there's a sort of like a spiritual harmony. Things that happen once are flukes, twice coincidence, and then 3 times you notice a pattern. There's some pattern recognition to numbers. There's some religious importance to numbers, and you got them all at the DNC, except it's just bad religion. The succinct summary of the DNC: there were more, but there were a few. Cultish repetition of mantra. Now, there was the book, The 12 Pillars of Branding, and there's something to it. There's branding, there's marketing, there is repetition makes people remember, and that works in cults as well. We're not going back. It was so gross. Every speaker had to throw "we're not going back" in their speeches. It's like they all got the PowerPoint. MFers, you're giving a speech at the DNC, you're going to say "we're not going back." You're going to say "when we fight, we win." And you damn well sure are going to let Joe know you love him. It wasn't "we love Joe," it was "we love you, Joe." Cultish repetition of lies. And there were more than just these. I don't accuse people of lying and then not give examples. Kamala Harris, I don't think said did she say the fine people hoax? I have to double check today, but cultish repetition of lies. They all said it. I didn't put in, the nationwide abortion ban sort of fits with Agenda 2025. Trump is going to impose a nationwide abortion ban. Lie. A lie that even is not getting community noted on Twitter. Elon, if you're watching him, community notes doesn't work if they don't flag that as a lie. Nationwide abortion ban. He called them suckers and losers. Who the hell does he think he is? And it wasn't just Biden saying that. Suckers and losers lie. Very fine people lie. One after the other. The cultish promise of a better future. And this is Babylon B that predicted this. This is the conundrum that everybody's pointing out, that Kamala Harris is promising a better future because of the shitty present that she and Biden have created for Americans. They'll resolve the border crisis. So it's Trump's fault that they didn't solve the border crisis in 2023 with that bullshit disguised foreign aid package after 3 years of leaving the border open. Create a problem, propose a solution to the problem that is no solution at all, that actually only empowers the people who caused the problem, knowing that that solution, in quotes, is going to get rejected, then blame the rejection of that solution, in quotes, on your adversaries, while accusing your adversaries of politicizing the problem. Do you see how that works? That was a mouthful. It's an astonishing, insidious, evil tactic. They created the border crisis problem, period. They let it run rampant for 3 years, period. 15 million, at least, people came in that time, period. They pretended it wasn't a problem at the time, and they actually demonized Trump for proposing in 2016 the solutions that they now ostensibly want to promote. So they create the problem. They exacerbate the problem, and the solution that they proposed was no solution at all. It only gave DC courts exclusive jurisdiction to hear state disputes. It ratified up to 5,000 illegals crossing a day. They knew that it was bullshit. They were accusing the Republicans of weaponizing the problem for political profit, which is exactly what they were doing. And that's what she's running on. She's running on solving the problems on day one that she caused over the last 3.5 years. Don't take my word for it, but hold on before we get into the clips, because I can do it. I have the power. FD Man says the biggest offender of God-created natural law is transgenderism cult. Two male, what is this? 2 male and female, he created them, and he blessed them, and in the day they were created, he called them man. You're not going to get a disagreement out of me. It was the sterilization of children is Nazi level experimentation on humans. And you've seen, I've interviewed Tulip R. Ritchie from the UK, a man who, as he did it as an adult, and some people are going to say, okay, well, you're an adult, you made your own decisions. A man who was suffering from some mental issues, who was exploited into removing his penis and trying to build a neo-vagina. And I'll never forget it, but during the interview, and he's describing what happens when he woke up from the operating table after a savage barbarian of a doctor hacked off his penis and tried to create what he looked like. He said it looked like someone went at his groin with a hatchet. And he's coming out of the general anesthetics. The doctor, barbarian butcher, has a mirror between his legs, and he says, I looked down and it looked like he went at me with a hatchet. It's human experimentation along the lines of the human centipede. And they take advantage of mentally exploitable people. I want to say mentally ill. Technically, I guess it goes down as a mental illness if you have certain types of mental problems. They take advantage of the mentally impaired, the vulnerable, and children. Special place in hell. And I interviewed Chloe Cole, who had a double mastectomy at the age of 15. I hope there is a hell, or at least I believe there is some form of a eternal, not damnation in a religious sense. You ever have that idea, like when you fall asleep and it feels like an eternity right before you fall asleep, or right before you wake up, you have a dream that lasts an eternity? I always imagine like death might be like that to some extent. Like right before you die, it feels like an eternity, and you spend an eternity hearing what people have to say about you in your absence. And so in that sense, heaven and hell are the same thing. You're a good person, you're going to hear good things for an eternity. You're a bad person, you're going to hear echoing of the awful things that people say about you when you were gone because of the awful things that you did. Yep. Transgenderism is a cult, is the physical and mental mutilation of the likeness of God. Genesis 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in his own likeness. So bottom line, the demonic national convention is over. And now let me bring up the clips, people, because I got sidetracked here. Before we even get into the DNC, this was the clip of Trump at the border saying this, which I guess Gavin Newsom, being an idiot, thought was a compliment.
California, you can't go into San Francisco. It's not livable. 15
California,
years ago,
I mean, you can't go into San Francisco. It's not livable.
it was the best city in the country. One
15 years ago, it was the best city in the country.
of the best cities in the world.
One of the best cities in the world.
And now you can't do anything. Look at what she's done. And now she's going to be president.
And now you can't do anything. Look what she's done, referring to Harris, and now she's going to be
And
president.
she's going to do the exact same thing.
And she's going to do the exact same thing. Not exactly the full-throated endorsement anyone would want of what was once the best city turned into a steaming pile of poop. Republicans voters against Trump said San Francisco 15 years ago was the best city in the country, best cities in the world. The mayor of San Francisco 15 years ago was Gavin Newsom, and the DA was Kamala Harris. I don't understand what's going on here. Are they trying to make Trump look bad? Republican voters against Trump. We are elevating, I'm reading their Twitter bio. We are elevating the voices of former Trump voters. They supported him and his policies in the past, but now they refuse to support him for president. And so in doing that, the quote they bring up is 15 years ago, it was the best city in the country, one of the best cities in the world, and now it's a steaming shithole, to which Gavin Newsom, with full self-awareness, says, thanks, Donald Trump. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, let's get into the highlights of the DNC. Yeah. Some summary of the DNC. I was going to pull up all of the clips of do we call her Rachel Madcow? I should be nice. I'll pull up Rachel Maddow. We'll call her Rachel Madcow. But I was going to pull up all of the clips of Rachel Madcow lying about the Russiagate hoax, imploring people to go get jibby jabbed, lying. I was going to pull up all of her filthy, pathological lies. You know, she's what does she get paid? $20 million a year? Hold on. I know we've done this before. It's useful to remember. Rachel Maddow salary. Rachel Maddow worth more than $30 million. Okay, that's fine. She's worth $30 million. What is her salary? I thought it was something ridiculous. She pulls $30 million annually for one scheduled night per week, says the Washington Post. Long live the overpaid cable news host. So she's, but my point, where am I? Am I in here? My point about the payment, by the way, is not to poo-poo democracy. It's that she gets paid to be a spokesperson for interests. That's nobody, and certainly not her, is worth $20 million a year. When someone's paying you that, it's not a payment. It's blackmail, it's extortion, it's control. And she is a mouthpiece for Big Pharma. She's a mouthpiece for the government. That's why she's worth that. All right, now let's bring her back in here. Did I take this out? Took it out. Let's hear what the Mockingbird Media mouthpiece Maddow has to say.
All right, you will remember where you were when you heard this speech tonight from the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, really introducing herself to the nation, speaking as much to Republicans and independents as she was to the Democrats who were nominating her tonight, asking Americans to remember how great their country is and to fight for its values. You're going to remember where you were on this night. This is an inflection point in history. Our coverage continues after this. Stay with us here on MSNBC.
Our opponents in this race are out there.
I guess she's right. I will remember where I was. I had just gotten back from a bike ride. I was covered in silt. I had gotten bitten by a fire ant, which still hurts. And I was listening to it at 2x, snipping and clipping as I went through the 40 minutes of verbal diarrhea. Once you understand that the media does not, or at least Mockingbird legacy propaganda media does not reflect reality, it tries to shape it. You understand what she's doing. She's not reporting. I mean, we all understand that. She's not reporting. She's cheerleading. She's like, go. This is what you should believe. These are your talking points, low information Democrat idiots who are actually watching me. These are your talking points. You shall repeat these to 10 other people. It's kind of like the Bongino effect, except for evil. You shall repeat these to 10 other people. They shall repeat it to 10 other people. And that is how we mass brainwash idiots who didn't even watch her speech. The only reason I made this joke earlier, people might have been watching her speech, is because they thought Taylor Swift was going to be coming last night. Oh, like they floated this rumor that there was going to be a big celebrity there. And then at the last minute, oh yeah, the big celebrity was actually the future president of the United States. Bullshit. They lied to people. Hold on, let me say who said it. I saw one person say it. I know more people said it. Oh, it was Keith Olbermann. Yeah, got it. Keith Olbermann, another. I mean, I don't even understand how this guy still has a platform, but he is entitled to a platform. I don't understand who follows him. The special surprise guest was the next president of the United States. Yeah, only because they duped people into watching by letting them think that Kamala Harris was not that Taylor Swift was going to come. So anyways, I guarantee you the vast majority of the people who are going to be praising Kamala Harris for that word salad, verbal diarrhea, all basic indirect criticism of her own administration will not have watched a minute of it, except perhaps the snippets and clippets of those 1-minute sound bites that are floating around the internet. And to the extent that they are, I shall bring them up with a little bit of commentary. Let us start with the race-baiting POS, Reverend Al Sharpton. Now, I didn't realize I didn't. Here we go. We don't just start from the beginning. Listen to this. This is Joy, according to Democrats, is Ellen Page. Joy, according to Democrats, are people who mutilate their bodies and deface the way they were fashioned by a power more supernatural than them. If you've ever seen photographs of Ellen these days, it's not joy to anybody except people who are lying. But listen to Joy according to Reverend Al Sharpton.
But joy comes in the morning.
Joy comes in the morning.
We've enjoyed January 6th. We've enjoyed.
So now I think he's also screwed up here. I think he says we've enjoyed January 6th instead of injured. I think he's trying to say injured, but he's flopping it with joy. In case it's not loud enough, I'll say it.
But joy comes in the morning.
But joy comes in the morning.
We've enjoyed January 6th.
We've endured.
We've enjoyed conspiracy theories.
We've enjoyed conspiracy theories.
Lies and areas of darkness.
We've enjoyed
If
lies.
we stay together, black, white, Latina, Asian, Indian American, if we stay together, joy, 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 joy coming in the morning.
Oh yeah, testify. Look at his face here, by the way.
Joy.
That looks like joy. It was such there was such outrageous hypocrisy going on at that convention. That was Reverend Al Sharpton. He looks joyful, sounded joyful. I've never heard such a menacing call for joy in my life. They had the Central Park Five come up. The men who were falsely accused of a crime, jailed for several years each. And they're making hay over the fact that Trump took out an ad to call for the death penalty for what people thought was the crime that they had committed at the time. Can you imagine this also? This was another one of the themes from last night. They were pulling out the fact that, how many years ago was it now? 30 years ago? What year was the Central Park Five? I think it was 30 years ago. The Central Park Five, oddly enough, was, men falsely accused of a crime. Central Park 5 year 89. They brought the Central Park 5 out on stage to lament about how they were wrongly charged, wrongly jailed, and how Trump, this is the best they got, 89, 99, 09, 19, 35 years ago, took out an ad calling for the death penalty because people believed that they had committed a heinous crime, which if they had in fact committed, some people would think you call for the death penalty. This happens to be why I've shifted my view on the death penalty. No matter how much I believe in it, in principle, we do not live in a perfect world where humans should be able to administer death to other humans, because it will be abused, it will be weaponized, mistakes will be made, and you cannot kill an innocent person. It's not the right of a human to do that. That's the best they got. The irony is that they get these guys who were wrongly jailed on stage supporting Kamala Harris, who jailed thousands of pot smokers, whose administration withheld exculpatory evidence, knowing that the evidence they had was tainted and there was a man sitting in jail as a result of what her administration, her office was doing. These are the guys that they decide. You could make it up, but no one would believe it. Here, let's get into some of the verbal diarrhea. This is Kamala Harris. I'll say one thing: the speech was not a disaster. Her delivery was, from a purely superficial perspective, not bad. It irritates me because I can't stand her. But the delivery wasn't bad. Her inflection wasn't bad. I think she's got a very nasally way of talking, which is off-putting to me, but that's, stylistic. Substantively, rhetorically, the speech was drafted well. You got the repetition in, you got the lines in. Her demeanor was presidential. And so it was not an abject disaster like, say, for example, Joe Biden's channeling Hitler on Monday night. On the substance of it, it's all lies. It's all lies promising a better future for the hell that she has ushered in under her administration. Here's one example. Forward.
To a future with a strong and growing middle class, because we know a strong middle class has always been critical to America's success. And building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
I mean, you from a purely superficial, if you had no idea who this person was, if she were to deliver this speech at an oratory competition, you'd say, from all technical perspectives, it's not bad. You can't deny that. From a substantive perspective, understand what she's doing. By the way, notice how she doesn't do the Biden full Hitler fist, right? She's doing the Bill Clinton. I did not have sex with that woman. Because you don't point your finger at someone. If you notice the Vivek Ramaswamy, when he was pointing his finger at Van Jones, it's accusatory. It makes people feel defensive. It looks aggressive. Look at this.
To a future
open hand
with a strong and growing middle class, because we know a strong middle class.
Look at her hand. There you go, right there.
Critical to America's success.
No finger pointing. She's talking about the strong middle class. Day one, she's going to solve the fact that the middle class has been taking a beating under the last administration. Oh, what administration was that? Hers.
And building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
Will be. Building that middle class, solving that problem will be a defining moment of my presidency if I'm ever elected to solve the problems that this crappy administration has inflicted on America over the last 3.5 years. All right, more. So you won't need to watch all of this. Yeah, this one's perfect. What's this one here? Listen to this. This one's a little longer, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Let me see what the headline says here. In the next 4 years, Kamala Harris. Oh, this is my. I've never made a hashtag. I've never gotten a hashtag trending. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. Cat Turd seems to have a knack for it. Some people seem to have a knack for it. I can do certain things. I can't seem to get a hashtag trending. If you vote for this, you are an idiot. Is that potentially trendable? If you vote for this, you are an idiot. I know people are going to say, Viva, you're a hypocrite. You even when you ran for office, you told people you never tell them who to vote for. I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. All that I'm telling you that if you vote for this person, you're an idiot. You're an idiot who has no self-respect. You're an idiot who does not mind being lied to. You're an idiot who doesn't understand that you are voting for the solution to the person who caused the problems. But most importantly, you have no self-respect because you are being lied to, screwed out of democracy, and gaslit into the bowels of hell. If you vote for this, you are an idiot. Hashtag make it trend.
That's why we will create what I call an opportunity economy where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed.
Smooth-brained steals.
You live in a rural area, small town, or big city. And as president, I will bring together labor and workers.
I will.
Just hire me.
And
And American American companies to create jobs, to grow our economy, and to lower the cost of everyday needs like healthcare and housing and groceries. We will provide access to capital for small business owners and entrepreneurs and founders. And we will end America's housing shortage and protect Social Security and Medicare. Now compare that to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'll compare it to Donald Trump. 4 years of relative prosperity, 4 years of relative peace, right up until the plandemic, which was either deliberately released or deliberately weaponized for the purposes of influencing an election. Can you understand how dumb do you have to be not to see through that shit? I mean, how little self-respect do you have to say, she's got a good plan. She's going to solve all of the problems that she caused. Housing crisis, which because she's an idiot, thinks it's a question of demand. All right, I'll operate on your idiotic. I'm going to keep this one in the backdrop. I'll share this one with everybody. I'll operate on your idiotic theory that the housing crisis is the result of too much demand and not enough supply. It's the most idiotic thing ever, but let's operate on that basis. You let 15 million illegal immigrants into the country over the last 3.5 years of your administration. Now you want to basically nationalize construction, and we're going to build millions of new homes to accommodate the millions of illegal immigrants because now there's too much demand for housing. All right, I'll hire you to solve the problem that you caused, Madam President. I have to be the dumbest person on the planet of the earth. We're gonna fix the middle class. We're gonna bring down the cost of food because they're 50% more now than they were after the pandemic. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been in charge for 3.5 years. I mean, I made a joke that the Harris-Walz administration is going to solve all of the problems caused by the Biden-Harris administration. If you vote for that, you're an idiot. Period. Oh, King of Biltong's in the house. Okay, let's lower the blood pressure a little bit. King of Biltong, good afternoon from Anton's. 10% off your Biltong code using Viva10 on www.biltongusa.com. Biltong, I know that, Anton, I know that my new order just came and I have to go to the post office. AntonUSA.com. Help us fight climate change. Eat more Biltong. Have a great weekend, everyone. Anton, you too. Thank you very much for the support. He makes an amazing product. Buy it. Eat it. It's delicious. VP George H.W. Bush ran on the success of Reagan-Bush. How can Comrade Kamala run on the success of destruction of the Biden-Kamala administration? If you can't see the idiocracy, if you can't see this, then idiocracy is alive and well. You know what's funny? I actually went to watch Idiocracy last night to cleanse the palate. It is nothing short of idiocracy. Oh, hold on a second. That's because my window's not fully open here. Oh, Lordy. There's one from our locals community, which I can't see. It says, Denise Ann 2 from our locals community says, this is not her, but this is a screen grab from a tweet, it looks like, or a post. Is it weird that I, a Canadian, am watching the Democratic National Convention while consumed with more hope than I've had in a very long time? Is it possible I might soon be able to lift a boycott on visiting our neighbors to the south because of the orange hue? Threat is gone, says some ass on Twitter. And it says, is it possible that you're communist just like your dictator Trudeau? Why, yes, it is. I presume it says stay in Canada. No, I've got my own theory about that. Is a lot of Canadian people are just brainwashed into thinking they hate Trump, and it's the only fallback they have. Yeah, but it was worse under Trump. No, it wasn't. Trump is not worse than the Democrats, and now you got RFK understanding that. But I've got my theory up in Canada that a lot of Canadians are just brainwashed. They're good people. They're just brainwashed. And it's also the create an even worse boogeyman so that the boogeyman you currently live under and your own misery is almost better by comparison. It is the question of creating an evil that's worse than what you're currently suffering through so that you can rationalize your own suffering and saying, well, it would be worse there. It's the distraction from what's going on in Canada because Canada's not in a good place. Censorship, homelessness, hunger. 1 in 4, 1 in 5 Canadian children is experiencing food insecurity. I've been to Montreal, homelessness everywhere. government-sanctioned murder of citizens because the socialist medical system can't care for people, so it's cheaper to kill them than care for them. Euthanasia accounts for 4.2% of death in Canada at the last time I checked. So what better way to distract yourself from the hell that you're living through than by manufacturing a prospective, potential future hell that Trump would bring in, as though you even experienced it the first time around. Okay. Thank you for this. Thank you for all those things there. Let me see here. We got no, that one I talked about yesterday. This is not directly related to the DNC. It's just about how information is manipulated over time and how propaganda works. I don't know who Melanie Darigo is. Melanie Darigo, Exec Director, New York NYH Campaign, VP Legislation, New York National Organization for Women, LGBTQ nonprofit, co-founder, Blue Sky, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. Well, now it explains a little bit more. And the banner says, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Not bad advice. Melanie Darigo puts out a tweet because right now, by the way, Kamala Harris's solution to I can't even call it inflation anymore, because if it's price gouging, it's not inflation. But Kamala Harris's solution to the inflation that has occurred under her administration, call it the Biden-Harris administration, because it wasn't her administration. She was just vice president during that administration. Their solution to the inflation is to implement price controls on food because it's price gouging. It's not inflation. Okay. And now you got to get the propagandists to toe the line. They get their talking point from the media. It's price gouging. It's price gouging. It's corporate greed. I mean, they're taking a playbook out of Jagmeet Singh's Twitter feed out of Canada. Melanie Darigo writes, Subway is owned by a private equity firm that raised the prices on their $5 footlong up to $14. Now the price back down to $6.99. I never saw a footlong go to $14 except maybe in a Vegas casino. So either way, now it's back down to $6.99. So I don't know that I agree with the premise. I'll have to Google that in a second. It was never about, quote, inflation. It was a private equity firm using inflation as an excuse to price gouge customers. Always expose corporate greed. I won't expose corporate greed. I mean, I will when I see it, but I will expose propaganda stupidity. And congratulations, Melanie. It's you today. Do we get to see that? It's like... they want to pretend that it's price gouging and ignore their own party statements on the issue. What was her name? Janet Yellen. Inflation. Janet Yellen, another idiot who will go down. I mean, just an idiot, just incompetent liar idiots. It's not, there's no inflation. The inflation's transitory. Oh, okay. The inflation's here to stay. This is July 9. Can you get these stupid ads out of here? This is July 9. It's price gouging. But according to Janet Yellen, U.S. Treasury's Yellen, inflation will continue to ease over time. Oh, the inflation's going to ease because Kamala Harris is going to go after price gouging. This is July 2024. Let me see what she says here. Washington. Rent and housing costs are keeping U.S. inflation higher than preferred, but consumer price pressures will continue to come down over time. Treasuries. First of all, she has been wrong every step of the way. She's an idiot who has been wrong every step of the way. There's no inflation. Okay, there's inflation, but it's transitory. Okay, it's here to stay. Now it's coming down. Yada, yada, yada. Tremendous progress in bringing down inflation. So it's not inflation, it's price gouging, but it's inflation is coming down because everything. It's always blame it on Trump from 2020 or blame it on Putin in 2022, or it doesn't exist, but it's a good thing that it's coming down and we take credit for bringing it down. Idiots. Idiots and liars is how we can find. Okay, let's get rid of that because that thing is making an odd noise in there. All right, people. What time is it? 1:35. So excited. I'm so excited. Like a little nerdlinger is what I am. FD Man says, not to be racist. It's never good when a sentence starts like that. Reading a chat. Not to be racist. I work at an immigration checkpoint in Texas. I met my first commercial truck driver who was akin to Bob and Doug McKenzie and not like an extra from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I don't even know what that means, FD Man, but thank you for the Rumble rant. And then we got one above it that says, Denise Ann 2, coming from our locals community, says the Dems definitely don't want joy. All they did the entire week of the DNC was scream at the audience. It was really frightening. And then we got H Law from Rumble says, most damn sheep aren't voting for anything. They're voting against the designated boogeyman. Their motivation is anger and hatred, not joy. Well, so that is the ultimate pathology. Oh, let me sit up here. I've been bike riding and I don't use a padded bike short, so my butt is tremendously sore. That is the pathology. They get up there and they say, we're not the party of division and hatred. They are. We're the party of unity, but those bastards are going to destroy the country. We're not the party of fear and terror. We're the party of joy and optimism. But if they get into power, they're going to take your stuff. They're a bunch of extreme MAGA Republicans. They're threats to democracy. They're conspiracy theorists. But we're the party. It's like the meme of that crazy MAGA chick who's like, but it's pathological. It just drives me nuts because I can see it, I can't unsee it, and it drives me nuts that people don't see it. But like you say, they're not voting for anything; they're voting against something. They're voting based on branding. I remember my thought process when I voted for Justin Trudeau in 2015. You all have only gotten to know me as someone who's relatively in tune with politics, relatively in tune with the law, relatively in tune with current events. In 2015, where was I? I remember we had just moved. But we were living in our home, and I was working as a lawyer. I wasn't into politics. Was it 2015? It had to have been 2015 because I know that I voted for the Liberals, Trudeau, once, and it would have only been in 2015 because I know that I never voted Liberal again. But when you're not really paying attention and you're living your life, you're raising your kids, you're working your job, you're doing bookkeeping and you're doing billing and invoicing and collection. You're not paying attention to any of this. You don't know it. Also, it was his first time. So, that if anyone's going to make a mistake, the first time is the shame on you. The second time is the shame on me. But I remember what I was voting for. Liberals were liberal. It's in the packaging. Democrats are Democrats. It's in the packaging. Conservatives are conservative. That's bad. And and that's up in Canada. And like when you don't know anything, you don't know that you don't know anything, and you feel good about it. Yeah. Hold on just one second. Let me just see something here. Okay, that's me live there, and just want to see something here. Okay. And this. Hold on just one second. I'm going to just tinker with something in the backdrop, and then we're going to bring up the next one, which I think we've moved on from the highlights. We moved on from the highlights. Sorry, guys. Taking care of business. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. There's still a few more here. Now, the question is this. Do we end this on Rumble? No, if I need to pull the feed from RFK at 2:00. Okay, we'll get there in a second. All right, hold on. One more from Denise Antu. So a couple of Marines I follow pointed out that Wall's intro song was the Marine hymn, and they were pissed that they were jumping around like they were at a pep rally. Also, the fact that Walls was not a Marine, extremely disrespectful. They have embraced the stolen valor. He misspoke. It's wrong of any military person to criticize Walls. He is your new overlord, and you shall respect him in all of his lies. I'm saying that obviously tongue in cheek. Okay. And the propaganda war. Okay, we're gonna. So this is now. There was someone who said Pulitzer Prize for this. For those of you who are listening on podcast, I thought what we're looking at is an image. Now, technically speaking, again, people, if anyone's done photography, cinematic stuff, 2/3, 1/3, or you go thirds in a photograph. It's again like in threes. There's a spiritual harmony to threes to thirds, etc. This picture is, if it's not exactly 2/3, it's quite clearly 2/3 blue and 1/3 Kamala. It's a girl. I presume it's a girl. Who the hell am I to presume anybody's gender at the DNC? With pigtails, So I presume they're playing on the racial aspect of this. It looks like a young black girl who's staring up in awe at Kamala Harris, who seems to be having something of an orgiastic seizure. And this is the new propaganda. The new propaganda dropped, and this is it. What did the person say here? This is Kyle Griffin, so I don't think he's going to be critical of it. He says, let's close this here. Photo from Todd Heisler of the New York Times. The New York Times, the propaganda piece that has been state propaganda for as long as it's existed, puts out their new thing now. This is, so the pictures, I mean, I don't like it. And not because of the subject matter. I don't like it because it actually looks like it's photoshopped on its own. It looks like someone superimposed a kid looking at a screen and then just put Kamala Harris on it. From a spiritual perspective, I don't like it because it looks like you have your overlord looking down on the lowly hoi polloi. That might be the message that Kamala Harris is trying to get across to her sycophants. It doesn't show me optimism or looking to the future. It shows me subjugation and a little bit of dominance. That might have been the purpose. But the bottom line is this. I saw that picture. I was like, I think I see that picture somewhere. That picture looks oddly familiar because you tell me if I'm seeing things, people. That looks exactly in spirit. This is from the Apple ad back in the day that was imitating a 1984 perspective. Silhouettes of people mindlessly staring at a screen of their overlord who's dictating to them what to do. I mean, it's amazing, but it's a propaganda war. The elections are propaganda warfare. Sound bites, visuals, images, which is exactly why they had to suppress and demote the iconic image of Donald Trump surviving that assassination attempt and raising his fist to the world in defiance, saying, "Fight, fight, fight." Let me bring up something else here, because the amazing thing is, you talk about confession through projection. Everything the Democrats say at the DNC is true of true of themselves, not of their adversary. Everything they accuse their adversary of is they're true of themselves. These are the people also who call us. They call me a conspiracy theorist. The ones who look at this and this is my meme. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's good enough. The world according to Democrats, and you got Trump with his fist in the air. This is staged, they say. And the one on the right, this little girl looking up at Kamala Harris, like an obedient, subservient minion, is not staged. And there was some jackass that came out and said, Pulitzer Prize for the one on the right. My ass. If there's a Pulitzer Prize for a photograph of the decade, of the millennia, of the history of America, this is the modern, the picture of Trump defiantly, fist in the air, blood dripping down his head. Fight, fight, fight is the is it the Iwo Jima, the flag of Iwo Jima? Flag of Iwo Jima. I think that was it. Raising the flag on Iwo Jima. It's the 21st century version of raising of the flag of Iwo Jima. I mean, it even looks like it. I know people have obviously observed this before. Oh, you can't see because that's the flag of Iwo Jima. Raising the flag of Iwo Jima, and you go back to Trump, and the flag is in the backdrop. It's just but a New York Times propaganda photograph. That's the defining element of the Kamala Harris campaign. Subjugation, subordination, mindless, brainwashed idolatry of a confirmed liar, incompetent DEI hire who promises to solve the problems that she caused. Okay, good. If you vote for that, you're an idiot. The only problem is if you vote for that, it's not just a question of you getting what you deserve. A lot of other people are going to get what they don't deserve. FD Man says, Comrade Harris, no balls walls in 2024. May their disciples and acolytes fail this endeavor of making the new world order religion. From your mouth to the ears of someone more powerful. Did Vivek tell Van Jones the guy showed up at his house at 3 a.m. with 4 bodies, or did I hear that wrong? I heard that as well. That's from Sunbeam Valley. Let me see something here. I'm going to Google this. No, I'm going to keep that one in the backdrop because I want to bring that up. Talking about the New York Times. Vivek, death threat for dead. Did he mean that he had killed somebody else? So I'm not finding anything immediately, but that's what I heard as well. So I don't know is the short answer. We'll find out. We'll see if we can get it. All right. What else do we have? Gotta get everything done before we get over to that's me. I'm listening to me in the backdrop. Okay, did I miss any super chats on YouTube? I did. Basil Beshkov, $10 super chat on the CommiTube says, get that woman a Dukakis helmet and a ride on a tank. So I don't know. That was from a while back. I'm not sure. That was at 132. What were we talking about at 132? I don't know. I'm going to scroll up here and just get a few more of these. Here, actually, I can do it like this. And then I'm going to have to go look for where we're going to be able to see. That was Basil Beshkov. And let's just scroll up and see if I haven't missed any more here. Okay, I think that was it. Good. All right, take that out. All right, and what else do we have in the backdrop here? Oh. Well, let's just we're gonna read the news as we whet our appetites for what's coming. And then I got a story that's not related to the DNC, but it's not even a re-education that YouTube offers now. It's overt. It's overt. I don't know what it is. We'll get there in a second. Will Robert F. Kennedy's likely exit from 2024 race boost Trump over Harris? Well, if he endorses Trump, yes, it's obviously going to boost Trump over Harris. Let me see what the markets are doing. Let's see here. Okay, I can only measure it. Oh, the markets are down a little bit. Yeah, down a touch, but nothing much. All right, hold on. Where's the article? I just took the article out. Now I can't find it. Oh, yeah. Will it? New York Times. Fox News is asking the tough questions. Kennedy make major announcement Friday, hours before Trump holds a campaign event nearby. Maybe I'll get a live going again. No, I can't. I'm doing a live podcast with Elijah Schaefer tonight, who's in the neighborhood. And so we're going to meet up at a studio and do that. So that's going to be at 7 o'clock, I think. Yeah, 7 o'clock. I'm going to be live with Elijah Schaefer. I'll send the link around after this for sure. The political spotlight will be on Democrat turned independent presidential candidate. Democrat turned independent turned conservative Republican. Isn't that just how it works? No, not Republican, turned Trump supporter. It's an amazing thing. Like he was a Democrat. They pushed him to the center. He became independent, and they're going to push him to the other side because that's what they do. That's how it works. Many expect an announcement that he's ending his White House bid. Kennedy's campaign says the candidate will address the nation live on Friday about the present historical moment and his path forward. On the eve of the Arizona, Kennedy moved on the eve of his event in Arizona. He's in Arizona. Trump's in Arizona 2 hours later. Apparently, he announced a special guest, from what I understand. Kennedy moved to withdraw his name from the state's ballot, which appeared to be another signal of his intent to drop out of the race. Yeah, it's pretty good signal. However, the biggest question surrounding his anticipated exit from the 2024 race is if it will give former President Trump a small but potentially significant boost in his. I mean, this is Fox News, people. This is the same Fox News that paid Dominion $787 million by way of settlement. The same Fox News that called Arizona, was it Arizona? I think they called Arizona for Trump and then had to retract that. This was published at August 23, 6 a.m. This was published this morning by Paul Steinhauser. There is no excuse not to understand, not to know, and not to report in the article, even if you report it as rumors. There is absolutely no way to pretend that you don't know about the rumors that he's going to endorse Donald Trump. And this is almost misleading reporting. Almost. Maybe they're just idiots and they're not in tune like the rest of us. Well, give him a small but potentially significant boost in this. If he drops out and endorses Trump, get out and vote and bring 10, 20, 30 people, it would be the most monumental unity coalition ever. And whatever bump Kamala thinks she got yesterday from that manufactured speech, they're going to be in a world of pain if that happens right now. Political pain. Inexcusable that they can't mention this, and they're still entertaining that as the story. Pointing back to the previous two presidential elections, veteran Republican strategist and Fox News contributor Karl Rove spotlighted the influential role of third-party candidates. Garbage. It's just all garbage from here on in. Well, actually, this is important stuff. He says Jill Stein got more votes in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania than Hillary Clinton lost those states by. Rove pointed out. Not just dropping out and not endorsing Trump, dropping out and endorsing Trump. Now, there were rumors, and I don't like these rumors, and I'll tell you why I don't like them in a second. Let me get the reporting, and I just so nobody else, I am not making these rumors myself. Hold on. It was Simon Ateba who, what did he say earlier? Hold on, I get this here. 5 hours ago is definitely not that far ago. Hold on. I just got distracted by something else. Where is it? It was a reply. Simon Ateba said there's rumors that that Kennedy's wife doesn't want to endorse Trump, and so he may not endorse Donald Trump. I said, that smells a lot like Democrats trying to interfere in a person's marriage and say like, oh, there's rumors, and try to create discord, or at least create the impression of discord among married couples. I'm not sure that I would believe it. I don't know how that would get out there anyhow. Okay, sorry. This was just so you know what I got distracted about. I thought one of my posts had gotten community noted, and that would have pissed me off. Okay, here, let's just see this here. This is going back to the inflation one for a second. Okay, this is why we got a little distracted. So I said we've now entered the realm of the propaganda war where Democrats are pretending that there was no inflation; it was always price gouging. Okay, then I noticed a community note. So now I thought it was on mine, but it seems like it's on Melanie D'Angelo. The community note says the tweet cuts off important information. The $6.99 foot-long deal only lasts until September 8th, and you have to use a code on the Subway app. It is not the new price, and this post might lead someone to believe. That's a little argumentative. Okay. So bottom line, we're 7 minutes from what might be the biggest day in political history of our lives. We'll see. Right? It'll be the biggest one up until now. November 5th will be the next big one. FD Man says, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, it shoved them out and kicked them in the ass on the way out. Is the more likely alternative. All right. Now, before we get into, I'm going to go, we got another few minutes left. Okay, this is the last non-Reagan, non-DNC related story. It's just hilarious. And then we'll take some questions, and then we're going to go find the link. I'm still using YouTube, people. I'm with Rumble. Rumble will always be the true free speech platform. Before I get into what might be an offensive, cancelable, I might have just revealed it. There is no point leaving YouTube. It would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. Use YouTube for what it's good for, and then build up Rumble to one day be the what YouTube might have been in the early days, but what YouTube should be. So you don't act against your own interests out of principle. It's stupid. Use YouTube, reach a broader audience, bring them over to Rumble, bring them over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Yesterday, I noticed in my in the app as I'm uploading my analysis of the Alvin Bragg basically giving up to Judge Merchan Trump's request to postpone sentencing in the New York hush money, I'm putting in quotes, payment case, 34 bullshit charge felony conviction. Okay. I noticed this. It says creator demographics. So my interest was piqued, and I go and look at the questionnaire that they want me to fill out. It says it'll take 5 minutes, fill out the questionnaire. We're going to read through this because I just couldn't believe it. These are the questions YouTube asks me. Now, I presume you're not allowed to be on YouTube if you're a kid, so that they wouldn't be asking kids this question, but they shouldn't be asking anybody these questions. Creator demographics, they want you to, the main channel lead. We would like a response to this survey from the main creator artist talent who leads your channel. That's me and Barnes, but they didn't ask for Barnes. No, Barnes and I have a coalition, but the channel Viva Frei is Viva Frei. We'll call this individual the channel's main lead. That's me. This means the main creator who leads content strategy creation of your channel, the creator who is explicitly associated with the channel's name, the on-screen talent of your channel, including, okay, fine. How many does it have? 1. Fine. So far, so good. Which of the following do you, the main lead, identify as? First of all, can someone identify as Asian? You don't identify as Asian or Black any more than... If I identify as Black, that's called blackface, isn't it? I thought that's what Dolezal got in trouble for. I thought that's what, that was the big taboo. I don't identify as Black. I am Black if I'm Black. If I'm not, I'm not. So which one do you identify as? Asian, Black, or African American? Hispanic, Latino, Latina, Middle Eastern or North African, Native American, Alaskan Native, Pacific Islander, white, prefer to self-describe. What the hell does that? Okay, maybe I'm like a half-half. Prefer not to answer. Okay, fine. Do you, the main lead, identify as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, including but not limited to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, pansexual, and or asexual? YouTube is asking me this. Where do you like to put your penis is what they're asking. Where do you like to put your man vagina? What would it have to be? Where do you like to put your protruding vagina if you are a male who, how do you have sex is basically, what do you like is what YouTube is asking me. I mean, it's which of the following do you, the main lead, identify as? Man, woman, non-binary, prefer to self-describe, not sure, or don't know? Can you imagine if the question is, are you a man or a woman? And they actually offer you the option of, I don't know what I am. Maybe this is Orwellian, but this is YouTube asking its creators these questions. Do you, the main lead, identify as transgender? No. What? But didn't you just ask me that one earlier? Didn't you? Why are you asking me this now twice? Are you like double checking that I didn't make a mistake the first time? Creator demographics. Which of the following best describes your channel? Do you want to be invited to specialized programs? No. I love how it's not. No, it's not right now because I might change my mind in the future. And then I had to ask Team YouTube, like, got this invitation. What the hell's going on here? But this is the question. Am I going to get penalized for being a white man? A straight white man, public enemy number one. Oh my goodness. Out of morbid curiosity, I opened and proceeded to complete the questionnaire. How do I know YouTube is not going to penalize me, demote my content because I am a white male? I mean, why'd you ask it? Why did you ask the question if it wasn't for some performance purposes, enhancement purposes? Oh, we just want to know our demographic. Bullshit. How is it appropriate to ask these questions? If the goal is not to discriminate against white males, why ask these questions in the first place? In what realm of the universe do you think it's appropriate to submit a questionnaire asking if content creators are transgender? Do you ask these questions to minors as well? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Sincerely, a white male content creator. P.S. It's okay to be white. And then I see, oh, Viva's gone full racist because she said, I actually saw someone say, Viva's gone full racist. Can you believe that we live in a world where saying it's okay to be white is actually now been demonized as being a racist statement? First of all, we're pushing back the Overton window, people. There's enough of this ideological bullying to be made to feel ashamed of stating obvious things. And I was thinking this, I'm biking this morning. I'm laughing at myself. I'm laughing to myself, probably at myself too. I'm like, someone's trying to make me feel racist and bad about saying it's okay to be white. Like, we're not even saying it's great to be white. We're not saying, nobody's saying it's better to be white. I mean, some people say that, but it's not like I said that. I didn't. The controversy is not, it's better to be white. It's not, it's fantastic to be white. It's not, it's great. It's okay to be white. And that gets called racism. It's time to push back at the Overton window, people, and start to call out these absurdities for what they are. Absurd. Okay. Now, everybody in the chat, if anybody finds the link before I do, please let me know. I'm going to go start looking for it in exactly 1 minute. I'm going to thank Matt R. Hope, donated $100. I hope that means an annual subscription to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, the best above average community out there. For anybody who wants to, shameless self-promotion now, people. You're all watching on Rumble, or there's 4,000 some odd people on Rumble. Almost 5,000, actually. That's fantastic. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get the link in Locals. That's right. So I can share this with everybody in Rumble. Come on over, link to Locals. Bada bing, bada boom. If you want to join as a member, there's no financial obligation whatsoever. You get a ton of stuff that is available to everybody. Hold on. Excuse me. That was a good sneeze. Sorry. I don't know if anyone has ever seen me sneeze before, but it is always not an achoo. It's a kablamo. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And let me see what's up on the new merch site, Viva Frei. This is my wife. One does not just say my wife without saying it in the Borat accent, even though I don't like Sacha Baron Cohen. Hi, remember where we were when we took that picture? What a different, well, that was post-pandemic. That's when the freedom fro was growing. Don't vote for an idiot is up on vivafrei.com. Ephesians 6:11. People, put on the put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Ephesians 6:11. And Trump was shot at 6:11. So, and we're going to get some more merch up there sooner than later. I'm wearing the merch right now. It lasts, people. I'm still wearing the same shirts for a long, long time. Live on Bannon's The War Room, but I don't want to parasite off Steve Bannon, I don't want to parasite off The War Room. So let me see if I can't find it on YouTube. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Although I'm going to go to the locals community, not because I trust them more, but I know that they will get this. If there's a link out there, get me the link, people. And I'm going to look for it right now on... If I have to poach it from Bannon, I will, but Okay. Here we go. I think I got it. Okay.
So stay right here with us. As soon as it happens, we'll get you back out to this podium on Live Now from 5.
I like the American flags. You notice we're gonna take this out and I'll leave it in the back. Okay, so not stop. How do I remove? I can go present like this. There we go. Good. Oh, mamacita. You notice on the first day or two of the demonic national convention, there was ne'er an American flag to be seen in the crowd. And I pointed it out, and then there was like, well, there's 5 flags on stage. Like, yeah, I didn't say that there were no flags on the stage. I said there were no flags in the crowd, which is an indication of, some zeitgeist of the crowd. And then by the end of it, they realized that they had made a mistake and they needed to get some flags in the crowd. Let me show you this one. Oh, so I'm looking at my tweets here, pre-stream. Okay, good. That's me. It's an amazing thing. My Twitter feed is just a diary of in the world gone insane. It's amazing. Oh, here we go. This is it. Look at this. Let me just make sure I'm not opening up any DMs that I don't want to dox anybody who's DM'd me on Twitter. Here, check this out. This is the own, by the way. Suck it, MAGA. We're taking the flag back. Thanks, Ginger Spice. By the way, following 21,000, followers 23,000. Not a real Spice Girl. Calm down. Great Lakes to the... That's fine. Suck it, MAGA. We're taking the flag back, to which I respond, moron doesn't appreciate the cell-phone admission that they have abandoned the flag for the last 4 years, at the very least. Well, you're taking the flag back. Oh, I'm not showing the screen. Well, that's great. There, that's it. Oh, no, now they finally realized optically they needed some flags in the crowd. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you're going to, you criticize where criticism is warranted, and I guess you could compliment where compliments are warranted. No one will accuse the Kamala Harris campaign of not bending to the political wind, bending to the political tide as fast as she does other things. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I've got the screen up in the backdrop, but how do I see if I can see this? I'm gonna put it up here and not bring anything else up, and I'll take some chat, so I can at least see this. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take it out. I'll take it out, and I'm gonna go over here. Now, I can go to the chat, and I'll bring up some chat here. Twitter is a case study of the world gone insane at large. It is a very interesting thing. Let me see here. It seems that I don't want to say that this is a troll because everyone's entitled to their opinion. Project 2025 is a fascist manifesto. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you on that. But everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and some people are just entitled to have bad opinions. Boopsy, with the $1 from vivabarneslaw.locals.com, said, I used to hold in my sneezes. People told me it was bad. It was hard for me not to hold it in, so I trained myself to say the word achoo when I sneeze, and that was the cure. Yeah, no, you could hemorrhage if you hold in. If you could hemorrhage, you're not supposed to hold in a sneeze. Now, if you've ever heard my father sneeze, I mean, it shakes the earth. Did I talk about Nancy Pelosi's toilet paper rolling out of her pants? No. I saw Matt Wallace. Not Matt Walsh. Definitely not Matt Walsh. Matt Wallace, who's got Not a crazy conspiracy theory, because I don't think there's anything that's crazy enough that I would call it a crazy conspiracy theory, but he was going into the adrenochrome aspect of Nancy Pelosi because she looks good for 85. She's alive beyond the average lifespan, so she's got that going for her. But so there was the thing about adrenochrome where Matt Wallace was suggesting. For those of you who don't know Matt Wallace, he's the guy that does the "what do you notice about these videos" on Twitter over and over again, to the point where it gets a little tiresome, but I guess it works, so more power to him. He was suggesting it's adrenochrome. It's evidence that she's on adrenochrome because she's 85 and still having her period, which is what fell out was a tampon. I will not give TMI for anyone who does not want me to give TMI. And no, this is not about my wife, so I don't want anybody having that thought. I think it was just a pad, and people leak, especially as they get older. So I'm not gonna. It's embarrassing. I'm not gonna make hay of it. I don't think it's an indication that she's on adrenochrome. I don't think it was a tampon. I don't think she's menstruating at 85. And it's not where it's as trivial as, you know, Eric Swalwell farting. Why can't they zoom in on that? Says I think they did zoom in. It was a white piece of paper. Some people were suggesting it might have been a note, but it came out of her calf of her pants. Let's see here. 2025 is a perspective and a strategy, like Queen's opening or a Sicilian defense. Now, it's policy recommendations from people who want that as a policy. What part of it is fascist? I mean, you see, I mean, I would have a discussion, but you know, the left doesn't want to come over and fraternize with the extreme far right MAGA Republicans for open discourse, because they inevitably always fall flat on their faces because they cannot engage in open discourse. They can't engage in critical thought, and they can't be challenged. So, okay, Jerome says, I don't put anything. It was a dryer sheet. Oh, see, that makes a lot more sense. Hold on a second. That's happened to me before. Those little things you put in the dryer, and they get stuck in your clothes, and then they fall out after. Whatever. Oh, let me just stretch my, speaking of stretching my, by the way, check this out. Not that this has nothing to do with hemorrhoids, people. It has to do with being a small person. I sit on a donut. It's like one of these donuts also, like it goes like, it's pretty cool, actually. Let me make sure that we're not missing anything in the backdrop. There it is. That's going back down. Oh! Okay. Let's see here. Let's go back to the chat and just see what's going on. Super Buff Shaft. Haven't seen you in a while, but I definitely remember. I have the same reaction every time I see your name. Viva, did you watch Roseanne's show with Jovan like you promised yesterday? I'm going broke to. Super Buff Shaft. I didn't. I'll do it right now. Hold on. I'm going to do it. Stick the link in the. No, hold on. Roseanne. Where do I find it? I had the tab up. Roseanne Jovan. Roseanne Barr comes to your two favorite legends. Pulitzer American journalist. It's on here. Spotify. Okay, I can get it on Spotify. Is this the new one? No healthy upstream, says the window. Oh. Sorry, guys. We're in a commercial break. Now, Super Buff Shaft, if you could put the link in there, I'll do it right now. At least adrenochrome is just a coagulant, nothing more. Yeah, I've heard this is from TSC experience. I've heard how they allegedly get adrenochrome. I mean, whatever. The thing is, it's not. I'm not. There's nothing too crazy on this earth to believe. So I don't believe in the flat Earth, and I believe I don't even believe that's a conspiracy theory. I just think it's misguided people. There's very few conspiracy theories that are so outlandish they deserve to be written off entirely. And the vast majority of the so-called conspiracy theories have in fact turned out to be 100% accurate. Okay, now I think I'm following a discussion in the Rumble chat, which I'm not going to get involved in. Take your time to watch. It's 3 hours, says Super Buff Chef. But where's the link? Oh, here it is. I got it right now. Okay, thank you, Super Buff. I feel really gross saying Super Buff Shaft over and over again. Okay, here, hold on. I'm going to do this because it'll make it easier for me to cut and paste. There we go. 3 hours, by the way, at 1.5 is only 2 hours. And that's how I'm going to watch it while I go jogging, but I'm not going to go for a 2-hour jog. Okay, boom. And if anybody wants to put out a feeler to get me on Roseanne or Roseanne on my channel, please. I've had questions for Roseanne ever since her public cancellation, which I did not support and thought was absolutely unfair and atrocious. Okay. Oh, live now. That still doesn't look like it's live now. What the heck are we looking at here? Was ist das? All right, I do have to see what the heck is going on here. What are we looking at?
And for the World Guitar Hero Tournament, and this one is just action-packed right now.
I thought that was
since
Jim Brewer
1996, a huge tournament, and they are bringing all of the flair that you can imagine when you combine heavy doses of caffeine and just the.
All right. You know what we're going to do, by the way, everybody? Right now, I'm going to we're going to end this on YouTube and bring it over to Rumble. And I'll leave it on Twitter, leave it on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. So we're seeing this. I'm going to pull this out. Come on over. The link to Rumble is in the pinned comment. 1,000 people on Rumble, on YouTube left over. Come over to Rumble. Let's see the number go up and down respectively. And I'm going to end it. And then we're going to go. Oh, okay. It's coming. It's coming. Come on over to Rumble right now. Viva Frei on Rumble. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Oh, it's only going to be on Rumble and Locals if I end it. I'm doing it. Come on over. Rumble and Locals. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Viva Frei.